Good day, I'm Johan Roux. Thanks for the privilege to listening to me. I want to share a story with you about finances and stewardship in life, but also God being the ultimate, being in control of this world system. In 2005, end of 2005, a bunch of friends came to me and said to me, well, they want to go to the US. So we decided to go to the US. We were going to go to, not to all places, but to Aspen for a snow skiing holiday. It all went very well. We had a fantastic time, I think, at the start of it. And it was interesting how God from the beginning, sent people over our lives which served Him. Luckily, the 8 friends that I had around me, which was with me there, they were all serving the Lord. So I think that really kept us focused and kept us enjoying what we need to do, but also to make some money, repay our borrowings or what we borrowed from our dad, we lent from our dads. On the 8th of December, that's 2005, the morning I went out on my own to snowboard down Aspen Mountain. As I moved down the mountain, through the trees, up onto the slopes, down the forest, I come out the one forest and I see to the left of my eye, I see a guy coming with skis from the side. And so I decided, well, I'll pop back into the forest, so hold my lines in the forest. And next minute I come out again, and here is the guy is still there. So, and the next minute, there's a big collision between me and him. And the next minute, it's like a lion that breaks loose, that was injured. And he starts coming at me, hitting me with his ski poles, or trying to hit me with the ski poles. Well, at that stage, my boards was in clip. He wasn't on his skis. I could get away. I went straight. I was so shocked by what has just happened here. I left the mountain, straight off the mountain to the work where I've actually worked. After Christmas, 28th December, the sheriff walks into the door at my work, and he asks, can you see Mr. Roux? I said to him, well, happily, yes, this is me. He says, well, have you been involved in a ski accident? I said to him, yes, I have been involved in a ski accident. He says, well, did you report it? I said, no, because I don't know better. He actually gave me a piece of document. He said, well, you're going to have to appear in the Aspen court in the USA. In court, I was found guilty of leaving the man on the mountain. So I was fined $100 effectively at that stage, which wasn't a lot. Well, for me, it was a lot, but I think for anybody that was in that court or living in Aspen, that's not a lot of money. So from that, left the court, we paid the $100. As I walked out the court, I walked down this road, and there's another person that we've met in our journey, in our time in Aspen. He comes up to me and he says, well, how did it go in court? I said, well, it gone fairly okay. I was found guilty. I paid my $100. And as I walk off, he pays me $100. He says, well, the Lord told me this is yours. From that, I phoned up my family in South Africa. I said, well, this has happened. We're here. My dad sort of walked a journey with me, talked me through it, everything. My uncle is an attorney in Cape Town, quite a good and high-level attorney. He warned me at that stage that the American system and the litigation in the US is of real concern, and that you've got to be very, very careful. On the 6th of January, the morning of the 6th of January, it's a Saturday morning. We gone snowboarding, came off the mountain again. I've gone to work. As I arrived at work, I was doing my thing, being on a computer, doing some things, and I hear the door opening up, but it's like a cold drop of water coming down me. As I see the door opening up, I can see a very scruffy man entering the door. And this man has got a bunch of papers with him. So I realized that this is the moment. I can remember what my uncle said. And this was the hitman. So effectively, he walked in the door, he asked, are you Mr. Roux? I said, yes, I am. And he served papers on me. I was sued right there for $100,000. You can imagine as a student that want to complete your studies, that's a lot of money. I broke down in tears, literally right there. It was sort of everything was just flicking through my studies. At that stage, how do I going to go back to South Africa? How long am I going to stay in this country? How long am I going to have to be in a court and out of court to fight this thing? My dad phoned me a week later and he said to me, well, he doesn't feel comfortable with this whole thing. And he really believes that it's like an axe hanging over my head. And he doesn't feel like that's the way we should exit this. He wants me to really go and pray about this. And he really wants, and him and my mum will pray about this, and they will see how we need to progress on this. So we spoke to attorneys, we spoke to my uncle, and at that stage, the indicators, all sort of indications look like it's going to be a massive amount of money to really fight this thing. So from my family side, there wasn't that sort of money to really fight this thing. Not knowing where the end of this can be, there's no commitment from them. I was invited into some high-level offices in Cape Town where lots of attorneys met me, and effectively the bank committed to fight this case. 6 months later, I appeared on a conference call for the first time in court, where the complainant wasn't even there, and his attorneys was in court, and I effectively had to state my side on a conference call. The whole process from there, it was in and out of court where I wasn't involved at all. In the end of it all, it ended quite well, that we settled out of court. And I think that through this whole journey, one thing that came up very deeply was, which was really settled inside of me, was that thing of God is in control of our lives. God is in control of this world system. And I think all the main things, the main themes through that whole process was where would the financial backing come from? I don't know. I never knew. My dad never knew. But in reality, as I said, God is in control of the finances of this world. If you, Psalm 50, 10 verse 12 to 12 says it so clearly, that he owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. He's got no need for a sheep or a goat from our pen. And I think that it really just describes God's greatness, God's magnitude. Matthew 6 speaks of the birds and the lilies of the field. If he looks after them daily, how would he not look after us? And it's just amazing to understand that today I'm very privileged to be in business with these 4 men that walked a journey with me through that process. It is now 16 years later. Well, not 16 years later, 14 years later, effectively. And we've really walked a journey of where we've done business together, where God's kingdom, we're pursuing God's kingdom on a daily basis. And I think through this whole process, today we can certainly say that Matthew 6:33 has become true in our lives, where seek first the kingdom of God and all its righteousness, and the rest shall be added to your lives. Thank you.